One. What's up, guys? Matt here, and I'm here with my good friend Rich Nieto at NYYFan on Twitter. What
Not
is
much,
up,
dude.
Rich?
A lot has been going on in the world of tech, but what's been going on in the real world with you this week?
Well, we're on episode 15 of Generation Tech, so that's 15 consecutive weeks. It seems like it's just going
It's
by so
almost
quick.
as old as you
Uh,
are in terms of years.
no,
A couple more
no,
weeks.
couple more, yeah. Uh, but yeah, so this week we have many topics ranging from the HTC One announcements and also from to Facebook buying Oculus Rift, which we'll get into both those topics pretty soon. So, anything you want to say before we start the topics?
No, there's a lot of topics to talk about this week. It was a busy week in tech. A lot of stuff that I really want to get in depth in this week. Like, we might have to cut some stuff out because I feel like we're gonna go nitty gritty on some of these things. So,
Yeah.
but other
So,
than that, no, man.
um,
I've been enjoying playing Minecraft this week, though. I don't know. I'm starting to get into the whole survival thing, and our SMB server, and I've uploaded like 3 episodes last weekend, and I'll probably do a couple more this weekend. So that's the other thing I've been into this week.
yeah, because you always played like creative,
Yeah, it's a
so
new world for me, and
I think it's a lot
it's
funner.
it is. It's what it's different. That's the thing.
It's not really, you can't really compare it as
Yeah,
easily.
it's a different
Um,
way to play the game, and early on when I first bought Minecraft, I felt like it's okay to play once in a while, but I don't know. I'm getting addicted. I think, sadly.
You're like on. I'm not even on. You're on by yourself doing
No, I
stuff
have to
now.
wait for one of you guys to go on. Like going online by myself is kind of like, no, I'm not.
Because you don't really know what to do.
Not even that. It's just not as fun playing on the server by yourself. But that's just me.
Yeah, yeah. Unless you have like projects that you just need to like start grinding stuff up
Exactly.
for.
But yeah, look out
But
this week for
but
more episodes. I'm sure Matt will put up some as well, and then Arden Empire Craft. I'm sure.
yeah, if you follow us on Twitter below our images or our video, you'll definitely see some tweets about our videos, getting all the latest videos and stuff. Not just live streams, but we do videos as well on our own channels. Or this is your own channel, but my channel. Anyway, so let's jump right into one of our bigger topics this week. So we're jumping in to Microsoft Office for the iPad. Um, what is this? This sounds like it's like wait, Microsoft Office for the iPad. Um, I mean, I saw something today. It might have been from you. You did a retweet that Microsoft employees actually get like scolded for using Apple products. So why would they release it on an Apple product?
Well, that when they got scolded for using Apple products, that was in a Steve Ballmer Microsoft culture. Now, obviously, they have the new CEO, and he impressed me quite honestly. Like this is the first time I heard him speak. First, it was his first press conference as a Microsoft CEO, and he really blew my socks off. Like I was not expecting that from him. He's got a vision. He's got a new mindset for to bring this company into, and and I think it's gonna work. I think he's really gonna take Microsoft out of the hole that they've been in the last couple of years. And Steve Ballmer, I don't know. Maybe at the time he seemed like the right guy for the job, but looking back, obviously, he really dug them in a hole for a couple of years. And other than their Xbox division, I feel like Microsoft have really, between Windows 8, the Surface, and then their mobile platform, which is pretty stagnant or even just
Yeah,
primitive at this point. Non-existent. That's what I
non-existent.
meant to say. Non-existent. They have a lot of catching up to do in this cloud and mobile day and age of tech. And, between Android and Apple, they're playing catch up. And, well, actually, let's talk about the Office aspect of it first. I don't want to go too much into the Microsoft culture. We'll talk about it afterwards. But what do you think about Office for iPad? Well, iOS in general. It's not just on the iPad; it's also on the iPhone. It's free. It's a freemium
Well,
product, as you're saying. So it's free to download.
yeah.
But that version only allows you to view and read documents that are in
Hmm.
the Word or PowerPoint or Excel format. If you want to edit documents or create documents, you have to be a subscriber to Microsoft Office 365 subscription, which is I believe $100 a year.
So you can't just buy out the
No,
app.
not at the present moment, which is
I think that's a pretty big mistake. I'm sure a lot of people would be more into it maybe if you just buy the actual application, maybe $20. I mean, if people would even be willing to spend that much. But for me personally, I don't view a lot of documents on my phone. I'm not really typing on my phone a lot, unless I'm just talking to someone, tweeting, social network stuff. But I mean, for opening documents, PDFs, Excel sheets, there's a lot of different things now that can open universal document types. So they can open pages, they can open document folders from Windows. And I use an app like kind of system called Quick Office, and it's free on the Android platform, and it pretty much has all the features that Windows Office has. But yeah, so it's free, does everything that it can do. So I'm not really interested in if they ever release it on Android, which I don't think they will. But if they ever do that, then I don't think that many will be interested in it. I mean, it's still just a text software. I mean, you can type, you can do Excel spreadsheets, and I think they have PowerPoint too. So
But yeah, I feel like Google Drive and Pages and the Apple's version of Office, those are fine for most people, especially students. I feel like students are really big into the Google Documents and Google Drive, where you're able to collaborate with your classmates over a project and stuff like that. I know when I was in school, later on in college, that Google Drive had just been released, and we used it to collaborate on a big project towards the end of the semester, and it was really a lifesaver, a time saver, and being free and easy to use. I perfectly understand where students would be driven to be using that. Office has always
Mhm.
been a business and professional level software suite, where when you're in
Yeah.
the business environment and the corporate environment, it's just the go-to application for word processing, spreadsheet, and all that stuff. Um, there's a level of there's a level of detail that the other ones can't really match. I mean, it's hard to explain, but it's just there's a lot of layers to like Excel that a Google Documents might not have. Google Documents is very simple in what it does. It gets the job done, but if you need to make a polished document or just make it a wow factor type of document, the other ones aren't really going to be doing that. And when in my experience being in the IT profession, every single computer that gets deployed to users in a company, they have the entire Office suite on it, and Outlook as well, obviously, and
Hmm.
all that stuff. So whether it's Mac or Windows platform, so that's always just a go-to. And I don't see Google Docs or obviously the Apple Office suite replacing it anytime soon. So it makes a lot of sense for it to go onto the iPad, because I've heard a lot. I've asked a lot of people asking me, so is there Office available for the iPad? And I'm like, no. All these years later, no, there is no such thing. I can offer you alternatives. I could advise you to certain apps that will kind of do the same thing, but
Yeah.
there's always, if you have Pages on the Pages app on your iPad, there could be formatting issues if you have a Word document you're trying to edit. So
Hmm.
that's the problem with those type of things. You're not going to have a perfect line by line format translate between Pages and
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So I mean, like, there is programs that I'm sure can kind of help you with that, kind of changing over formats and stuff. But a lot of these people in the business world don't have the time to do that. So I mean, this is really helpful.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the other thing is I want to get into, other than this Office stuff. Not to mention, now Apple's actually going to be receiving 30% of every subscription that people go to for the 365 subscription. So
Through the
right through
iPad
the
app or
iPad
in total?
in-app purchase of the subscription. So that is, if you look on the Apple website right now, look what's on their homepage. It's Office, and
Yeah.
it took me by surprise. It took a lot of people by surprise, but just the fact that they have a lot at stake here. I mean, they're getting all that money from subscriptions, and also people that are now willing maybe to go to the iPad because it has Office available to them. Because I know my company personally, we've been looking into getting the Microsoft the Surface Pro 2 as a device that everyone can use. We've been testing it. We're making sure that all the apps are able to run on it. Mostly because Office runs on it. Office 2013 is available for it.
Yeah.
And I don't like the Surface. I think it's been well noted that I hate the Surface. But people like it, and this just takes another reason why there's no reason to go to a Surface. If almost everyone has an iPad. I mean, one way or another, or an iOS device. Now that you're able to edit your work documents on it, that's another reason for you to use it. So Apple, they have a lot at stake here, and to me, it makes perfect sense for them to lead off their webpage with it. But what do you think? Do you think Apple should kind of be like whatever, treat it like any other app, or should they really be spotlighting it the way they are?
Well, I think they're spotlighting it the way they are because they see the opportunity of money. That's all these business is about. That's all business is about. You think that Apple's in it for just quality control products? No, they're in it for money. I mean, they're in for that profit margin. And to get what? If the subscription's $100 a year, they're getting $33 a year per person that signs up for the 365 through the iPad. Now, at companies like yours, how many iPads do you think that you give out?
Oh,
How many people do you
lots.
think
I
have
mean,
tablets?
I work with high-level executives solely, so every single one of my users has one. But you do get them amongst every so often with other people. So in the end, quite a bit.
So just say maybe 20 people, right? So that's $2,000 a year for like subscriptions, unless you do like a group subscription or something like that. But imagine taking a third out of that $2,000 every year, and that's just 20 people. So I think that they're seeing the potential revenue from this app, and that's why they're treating it so delicately. They're not really like, oh, this is Microsoft, so we're not going to really sell this app. We don't want it to sell as well as our apps. But this one they're really pushing because they're seeing that extra money on top of the app downloads. So
Yeah, and
I think that's the main reason.
Apple really does have a lot at stake in this. But the other thing that I wanted to mention is since this day and age where Apple kind of just has their own, they don't want to embrace other, like a Microsoft like they are now, or Microsoft not wanting to use Apple products in their environment. That's completely changing. They all have to work together and to make their own business successful. And I think Microsoft and the new CEO really see that, because you saw them. They had iPads all on display in the front during the presentation. It's just how it is. The entire world is run on iOS for the most part.
Well, they see that. I mean, it's not really that hard to see, but Apple dominates the tablet market, and Windows or Microsoft is also seeing the chance for profit here. So many more people use a Apple-based tablet more than they would ever use the Surfaces, anything like that. And selling, as you said before, this could be a selling factor for iPads, so that gives Apple a good what do you want to incentive, and then it gives Microsoft a good incentive getting that $100 a year. Subtract $30, they're still getting $60 for pretty much the software that they could give out for free if they wanted to. So pretty much it's hard to beat.
Yeah, and the other thing I wanted to mention is because of the $100 a year subscription for the 365, it really a lot of people aren't going to want to pay that much. I know personally, $100 for a year to use a productivity suite like this, like Office, it's tough to justify, you know. But what they're banking on is all the corporations subsidizing those prices, so that, not subsidizing, but paying for their employees' subscriptions for it. You know, it's like, for me, I know right off the bat my company will be paying for it for me, because, you know, right now we use Office 2010, and, you know, that's gonna be obsolete soon. You know, it's like Office 2007, 2003. They're gonna upgrade to the latest and greatest, and this it's only on the iPad right now for the subscription, but I'm sure it'll move over to the desktop versions as well. You'll see all these companies paying for it, you know, it's kind of how it works now. You know, each license that they have to pay for already. I'm pretty sure it's more than $100 they're paying for each license, so it might be saving them in the long run. Who knows? But the other thing, I want to talk about the Microsoft culture that going forward with this new CEO. Like I said, they're embracing new platforms and new devices, Android and iOS. They're not making believe it doesn't exist anymore. They're saying, okay, they're the top players in the mobile market. What can we do to actually capitalize on this? And they're making all their products available on it. And even bigger, the bigger thing for me is their enterprise support. Because in this day and age, when an employee goes to a new company, they're not just given a BlackBerry and say, here, use it. That's not how it works anymore. That was maybe 2005, 2008. Now what happens is when you're hired, they either ask you what device do you want, or if you have a current device, you could just transport it over, and the company takes over the liability on the bill, and you continue using whatever phone you are, whether it's a Windows phone, a Android phone, iPhone, whatever it is under the sun. They don't really care, because no matter what it is, you can get your email, calendar, and contacts on it. Most of these, almost all, I would say 99.9% of devices support Exchange, which is all that matters to them. And Microsoft sees that, and they're going to be rolling out eventually Active Directory support and all this other stuff, which wasn't really available on other platforms. And also, they're seeing a lot of Macs are being used into the corporate world as well. I know in my company, every day I feel like I'm ordering a new Mac, because people, new hires or whatever, they want to use the Mac. They don't want to use Windows anymore. And managing the Mac in a Windows environment, it's not fun. It's like a rogue device. There's no managing it at all. It's on its own. The user can do whatever the hell they want with it. But under this new culture, I feel like we're gonna be able to manage these devices just like we do the Windows, where we have certain roles for users, where they're limited to certain things and stuff like that. So I'm personally looking forward to it. You know, all this that they were really preaching in this presentation.
Who knows? Maybe this is opening the world to the day where we might actually be able to see OS X on a Windows PC.
I don't know quite that, but
well, I mean the ability.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but you know,
I don't know. Maybe they're just now realizing that they're the two top computer companies in the world, and that they could really benefit off each other.
And it's funny because Tim Cook and I forget his name, and the CEO of Microsoft, they tweeted back and forth at each other. They actually started following each other on Twitter, so it was kind of like a monumental moment there. You would never have seen Steve Ballmer do that. You know, it was kind of weird to see.
It was like blocked.
Yeah, right? He probably blocked.
Like everyone blocked. He was like, F you.
But
in his own corner of the room, he's like, it's like Evil Monkey in Family Guy. Like,
you know, Steve Ballmer really took, to me, he seemed like a used car salesman. You know, it's kind of like he was very gimmicky and shady, and he just tried to say the right things, but behind the scenes, you know, he was just down for the bottom dollar. And you know, I really like this new guy. He seems more like a big refresh in the company. You know.
Yeah. So I think that we've covered that topic enough. Kind of went over all the devices, the open device.
The other thing I wanted to mention is they didn't announce one piece of hardware, and I feel like this was their best presentation in years.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Maybe that's trying to tell him something.
seriously stay away from hardware because I other than the Xbox, I don't know one piece of hardware that I support that Microsoft made. But if they stick with the cloud, mobile software and stuff like that, I think that will be their way in the future.
Yeah, for sure. So moving on, we have another huge topic, which is actually very recent. I think it was yesterday. It was announced. So Facebook, if you haven't heard this appalling news, Facebook is buying Oculus virtual reality for $2 billion, and they are planning to unlock new worlds for all of us. So, yeah, we might see first person Farmville, everybody. How excited are you right now?
So don't try to hide your emotions and your feelings. I mean, can you make it more obvious? So let me just say what I feel really quick. I this was supposed to be a gaming platform. The Oculus was a Kickstarter project aimed towards gaming. And now obviously with Facebook, it's kind of like, what are they gonna do with it? The obvious thing is Candy Crush, stupid shit like that. And the other thing is also maybe they can make social experiences through virtual reality, which sounds cool, but why not do it? It's kind of like, I guess, Skype, maybe like Skype, but you have the binoculars on and you could see.
It'd be kind of cool though, like a Skype where like you could actually look around.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Maybe it's something like that, but I don't know. It just seems kind of weird that to me right off the bat that Facebook would be purchasing Oculus. It seemed like
they have money to throw away.
That's for sure. I mean, we saw that with the WhatsApp acquisition. That was $10 billion, right? Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. So it was like crazy, and it had like a fraction of the worth of Oculus. Like, I've never really used or even really heard of WhatsApp. Exactly. Like, what is WhatsApp?
I mean, I heard about it. I just never used it, and I logged in for the first time. And I saw only a handful of my friends were using it, so it's not something that's enticing to me. But back to Oculus, I don't know. I mean, other than social experiences, which Facebook obviously would bring to it, I'm still very confused as to this whole thing. The other thing to consider, since it was a small independent Kickstarter company, now that a big company like Facebook is buying it, there's always the possibility that's going to ruin it, because now it's under the umbrella of Facebook, and who knows what Facebook's really is. Are they really there to help grow the world socially, or are they there to steal all your information and sell it to advertisers for money? That's...
I noticed that you said umbrella. Let's kind of link this. Okay, Umbrella Corporation, Facebook. I'm seeing the similarities.
Actually, I didn't even think about that, but yeah.
Resident Evil.
It's funny because several years ago, everyone thought Google was a big bad company stealing your information and selling it to marketers and stuff like that. Now it's Facebook. Now, especially that they're public, that they're publicly traded, and they have all these investors they have to really look out for. This is only the beginning. The whole trend for them is trying to do things for money. Obviously, it's just the beginning. Yeah.
So to touch on, you said Kickstarter. You mentioned Kickstarter. This was originally funded for about $125. I think it was $1,000 or $1 million. It was either $1 million or $1,000. I think it was $1,000. Anyway, these people select quite a bit of people actually, who kind of put money towards a small, locally funded kind of campaign to create a new product a couple years ago. And now a lot of people are like, oh, we should get some sort of payment, seeing that you just took so much profit off of this and left us with pretty much nothing. Even after we donated our hard-earned money towards you, we should get some sort of money back with interest, because it's kind of like an investment. Investors, they made a huge profit, and I think that we should at least get our money back plus a little bit more for funding you guys originally. So I kind of agree with these people. I mean, I think that they should get something in return. I mean, they haven't even released a consumer version of this yet after all the years. So I think that's pretty much putting people in a bit of an outrage. So
Yeah, and it's perfectly
I kind of
understandable. These people that really looked out for this Kickstarter from the very first day years ago. Now for them to be kind of pushed aside, it's not fair. So I think Facebook really needs to compensate them properly, or down the road compensate them properly if this thing really takes off the way it looks like it's going to. Especially now it's under Facebook, or just give them Facebook stock.
yeah.
I mean, you know, one way or another.
Yeah, no, put the money that they originally invested in. I mean, I'm sure it's easily accessible because I'm sure they bought literally everything off of them, all their paperwork, all their
Yeah,
past stuff. I'm sure you could find the Excel sheet that they have on their computer, writing who donated
yeah,
what. Um, Maybe put that into a Facebook stock,
yeah,
put that money directly in. But I'm sure some people still not want that either.
yeah.
So
The other thing to consider is Minecraft was supposed to be developed for the Oculus, which that would be freaking awesome. I mean, this is the first time I heard about it. I had no
well,
idea this was in development.
actually, they have a mod for it already out. Which if you can buy the developer version, it's like $300, and it's like a 480p screen, but it still works technically, and you can play it right now. But that's $300 for a 480p screen that you can't really do
Right.
much with. Um, and they were gonna actually make a whole Minecraft platform dedicated to the Oculus. And what happened with that, Rich? I'll let you explain a little
So
bit
the
further.
main develop, well, I don't know who he is, but Notch,
Notch
yeah,
or Marcus
the people behind Minecraft that
persons.
were developing this for the Oculus, they're going to be ceasing to develop this because they feel like Facebook is up to no good. They're a big bad company, and just like I was saying, who knows what the motive and intentions are. So they ceased to do the developing, and who knows what other developers that were doing Oculus Rift apps or games, whatever it is. Maybe they're going to be following the same footpaths as this. That's another thing to consider. What developers will be left after this whole acquisition?
Yep. So I mean, that's kind of sad, but there's other virtual reality systems coming out. Sure, down the road we will get another company with another promising product. Unless this eventually gets released, I'm sure some people will develop their own mods for
Well,
it.
the way that virtual reality is being seen as the future of media, not just gaming, just entertainment in
Media.
general.
Like Sony just released so many headsets. Like they have two headsets now. Personal viewing headsets, which are really nice. They're really expensive, but I
And
wouldn't
then the
mind one.
PlayStation 4 version that they showed up, Project Morpheus last week that we talked about. And
Yeah.
Microsoft will be right around the corner with their Xbox version.
Oh
If
yeah.
not,
I would love an Xbox One. Titanfall,
yeah, that would
imagine
be
that.
sick.
Oh, that would be so awesome. Like, that game, what was it, for the original Xbox, Steel
Oh
Battalion
yeah,
or something, where you had like huge like
literally.
setup. It was like a 5 foot like console with all the
Yeah,
switches
it
and
was
levers. Imagine
$250.
that thing like Titanfall, like running into combat with
That would be sick. Although that was a mech
Titanfall 2.
simulation game where it was very, very in depth, obviously, with all the buttons and the $250 price tag.
Yeah.
But which is
I wouldn't mind kind of getting it just to kind of have it like set up somewhere in the house, like somewhere. It'd be
I'm
kind
actually
of cool.
surprised they never made a next gen version of it, even on the 360. But I think
Yeah.
the days of big expensive peripherals and controllers are behind us, a la Rock Band or Guitar Hero, stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm hoping that Facebook makes this as something good and
Doesn't
doesn't
ruin it.
ruin it. But if not, there's always gonna be other companies making virtual reality machines and headsets and stuff like that.
What what would have been awesome if Facebook just bought the VR and hired back the entire company
Well,
under it to manage it and then or to micromanage it, and then Facebook will just own it completely.
well, that's what they're supposed to be doing. They're saying they're going to be leaving it as is, kind of like Instagram. They acquired Instagram,
Yeah.
but they never meshed the two, Facebook and Instagram, together. So they have a past history of not ruining acquisitions and not
Things.
ruining things, but it's still very early. I mean, they've acquired all these companies in a small time frame. It's yet to be seen what the long-term ramifications are. If down the road, if Instagram becomes a advertising whore type of thing, and
Yeah.
they already said the Oculus is going to be an avenue for them to advertise stuff. They can make that your virtual reality shopping in a mall. And you're gonna have advertisements all over the place. Or if you're just doing a one-on-one conference with someone, there'll be background advertisements against the wall. So it's definitely gonna be an avenue for them to make money via adverts. But I think there's other things they can really ruin, and it's a fine line. It really is.
Yep. So I think that if we can stay hopeful, then maybe Facebook will do good. Maybe we'll just put their money to stay away
I
from
wonder
it.
what the next big company they're gonna buy is. And it's funny because like Apple has the most money cash on hand. They have more cash on hand than the U.S. Treasury does, and it's surprising they don't buy these type of companies. That Facebook is, or even Google for that matter. They have a lot of cash on hand, and to see Facebook acquiring left and right, it's kind of weird. That a social media company rather than an actual hardware / tech company is doing the acquisition. So I don't know. It's very strange to me. It's a new age, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yep. I'm very excited to see when Xbox finally announces theirs.
Yeah.
Or Microsoft, I should say.
Well, speaking of
But
new hardware,
yes, we got some new acquisitions. So we have a new HTC One.
it was just released this week. People are getting their hands on it, and the HTC.
Yeah,
Go
it's
ahead.
not. It's not really as big of a game changer as I think people were thinking that it was going to be.
Yeah.
So
So
what were you gonna say?
the original HTC One, well, now they call it the M7 because the new one's called the M8. I don't know why they chose that code name, and all of a sudden,
I think it's just the
yeah.
model numbers.
but
Or
it's just
something.
it's weird. But the original HTC One was one of my favorite Android phones. I've been duly noted as saying that I hate cheap plastic phones or polycarbonate or whatever the hell they want to call it. Metal or aluminum is the way to go for me, in my opinion, for phones. And the HTC One was one of the few Android phones that offered it, and it felt like an iPhone using Android, and that's as close as that you're gonna get on that platform. I thought it was gorgeous, and a lot of people thought the same. The only problem I had with the original HTC One is that its version of Android was already obsolete by the time it got out. I believe like it was 2 steps back. I don't remember what exactly it was running. I'm not I can't memorize all the Kit Kats and Jelly Wagons and whatever the hell.
Jelly
Ranchers,
Wagons, Jelly Bean, Kit
whatever.
Kat,
Gingerbread.
ice cream sandwich.
But it was
Yeah.
outdated by 2 iterations, and it's just that's typical Android for you. They never get everything perfect. If it had the latest and greatest Android version, I feel like it would have been much better off. But nonetheless, this new one, I mean, what can they really improve on it? They changed the design slightly, as you can see in the picture right here. Right here. It's obviously got a bigger screen. It's got a 5-inch screen as opposed to a 4.7-inch screen. And it has a metal on the front as well. The older one had plastic on the front sides, and they encased the entire thing. It's 90% aluminum as opposed to the outgoing model with 70% aluminum.
And contrary to your belief, it is not any more structurally integrant, I guess that's a way to say. It pretty much is still as flimsy as any other cell phone. So if you drop it, you're pretty much screwed still.
Yeah, I mean that goes without saying. If you're worried about destructing your phone or keeping it mint, get a life box or auto box, whatever the hell they call it.
Or
Or
BlackBerry.
BlackBerry. Those things are tanks. Um, but yeah, I mean, I like how they made it a brushed aluminum on the back as opposed to the. Well, there was nothing wrong with the original HTC One. It was an anodized aluminum where it was like very Apple-like, you know. I like the brushed aluminum look though. It looks pretty sleek, and it comes in a couple different colors: a silver, a dark gray, and I believe a black. I forget, but you know they did the obvious improvements on it. They made a larger screen, better processor. This actually has two back cameras, which apparently is supposed to make it better for focusing. Uh, Apparently, it's a little gimmicky. It's not all it's cracked out to be, but what else is new with this type of stuff? You know, where have I heard?
Yeah.
Where haven't I heard that before? But
Was there? There's a phone a little while ago. Sorry to interrupt, but there was like a Kyocera something, and it would flip out. And remember, it was like the first one with a 3D camera, had two
yep,
cameras side by side. It was. I was like, oh my god, I want this, and I felt it. It was the cheesiest phone I've ever felt in my life. It was like the worst plastic. Like I've had like a toy figure be made out of better plastic than this phone was. And I was like, oh. So these, I think it's just another gimmick. I think that's what Android's kind of resorting to right
and
now.
the other design flaw with this is that the top bezel is thinner than the bottom bezel. So when you're looking at it landscape, it's not right in the middle. It's kind of skewed more to the left side or to the right side, depending on how you're holding it. And that's the other thing about this. It has a black bezel and then it has the aluminum bezel. So it's kind of like double bezeled. And in this day and age where they're trying to eliminate bezels as much as possible, I don't know. There's just something about it. It just looks too noisy in the front, as weird as it sounds, because it's pretty simple looking. But there's like that black border, and then you got the gray, a metal border, and I don't know. There's just, and then on the side, you see you have the black bezel as well, and then you have a sliver of the aluminum shiny portion as well. So I don't know. There's just something off about it that I think they could have really improved it. The back is gorgeous though. There's nothing wrong with the backing. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
that's as good as you're gonna get, really.
Even with the two cameras, it doesn't look bad.
No, definitely not.
Like I've seen companies do two cameras a couple times and doesn't look good. Like they put them like there's like a huge box on the back like but this really flows
Yeah.
well. So I like the brush finish. It definitely does look like a premium
Yeah,
product.
and
So
it's funny because like in this picture, it looks kind of like the space gray iPhone 5s. It really does. Like the black rubberized portions that seal up the two different components, and also the
yeah.
aluminum kind of looks like it's a space gray color. So I mean
Mhm.
that's really as close as you're gonna get to an iPhone on Android. So,
Yeah.
but if you're
This thing's also waterproof.
yeah, I mean, just like the Galaxy S5 that's coming out soon. You know, it's dust proof and waterproof, so that's good to see. And I wouldn't be surprised if the new iPhone was also waterproof.
Oh
Um,
yeah. I think that's just an expected feature now.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So you have an upgrade coming up in the fall or soon, whatever. So would this something like this sway you to go Android, or are you still sticking it out and getting an iPhone? You think, not knowing what an iPhone 6 is going to be like?
I'd probably go with the iPhone, especially now that I have the Mac. It's much easier integration for me with iMessages and all that stuff. And I don't know. I think right now I'd probably go with an iPhone.
Yeah,
Still,
because
I think I'm pretty much over Android right
because
now.
you want to be in that Mac environment where things work together, they work collaboratively, and that's why I
Yeah.
got into Apple products to begin with, because everything talks to each other. You don't have to tinker with stuff. iPhone, Apple TV, Mac, everything. It's just all working together. And now people don't like that because they don't want to be under Apple's umbrella or whatever you want to call it, their rule, and their rules. But to me, I'll take that with stuff that just works. You know, it's a give take. It really is what you want, what you're willing to give up. And I'm willing to give up, freedom of using whatever the hell, whatever Android people say that they have freedom to do. But I think it's a solid phone. Don't get me wrong. Still, it's not perfect. There's some stuff that could be improved on it, design wise, software wise. Android is Android. It is what it is. And obviously they have the HTC Sense platform on it that skins over Android, so you're not getting a pure Android experience. Although they are making a Google Play version, which is just a vanilla stock Android KitKat. So there's that to look forward to if you want to down the road.
Also, to touch on the cameras, they actually didn't improve it at all. It's still 4 megapixels.
Oh, all right.
So, yeah. And the autofocus is at 0.3 of a second, which is supposedly the same as what Samsung claims is going to be on the S5 stock, with probably 12 megapixels plus.
Yeah.
Hopefully. So.
Well, megapixels doesn't even matter. It's all about the sensor.
I know they gave it a little bit better sensor, a little bit better autofocus, but I think that it can easily be outed by the end of the year.
It's still early, and obviously the iPhone has a lot to look on and see what can they improve and stuff like that, because they're releasing theirs in the spring most likely. And just to touch upon it, there are rumors, there's always rumors of the iPhone every other day, and there are stronger rumors of there being a 4.7 inch and a 5.5 inch screen size in the fall. So
yeah,
that's not something we didn't know. It's kind of, if they don't have those in the fall, it's going to be a really big disappointment, I feel like, especially for me. I am so looking forward to having a 5.5 inch iPhone. I never thought I would, but after using the Note 3, a gigantic phone like that, I'm ready to get a gigantic iPhone.
Oh yeah, I think I'm gonna get as big as they're available. They went 6 inches.
That 6 inch, that's where it starts getting into like the phablet, like real phablet territory.
Yeah, like 5.5 is on the line.
Yeah, 5.7 is probably the biggest screen size, I think. But it all depends on the bezel as well. Because if the bezel's thin, then you can get it with the bigger size. But speaking about screen sizes and new Apple stuff, there were rumors last week leaked out that a 12-inch MacBook, I don't know if there's a MacBook Air or MacBook Pro, but it's a 12.
We're going to be calling it the MacBook Air Pro. Yeah,
why not? It's the best of both worlds.
So that kind of sounds like a Nike shoe brand. Air
Pros. But it's supposed to have a Retina screen and a 12-inch size, and it's going to have the portability of an 11-inch MacBook Air with the power of a 13-inch. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds, and it's supposed to be actually thinner than the current MacBook Airs, which is hard to fathom. I mean, those things are really, really thin. For it to be even thinner than that, wow. Well, and also they're eliminating the click on the trackpad on this thing apparently. So that's one.
I wouldn't like that as much. I don't like the tap.
Really? Because I use that. I don't like to click because I feel like it's gonna wear out the trackpad. That's just me being weird. So I'm used to the tap.
See, I like to click though. That's one thing that really pulled me to this instead of like the trackpad with the 2 buttons, like on like every Windows PC. That's why I really like this trackpad, because you can click, two finger clicks, and all that stuff.
Well, it also has the multi gestures. That's another big thing. This is definitely the best trackpad on a laptop that you can get. But there is a patent that apparently is when you do the tap to click, it does a feedback that kind of simulates a click. I don't know if it's like a force feedback type of thing that you see on certain phones, but there is that patent that people have been bringing up that, since they're going to do this non-click trackpad, maybe they're going to implement this patent finally. And, that kind of makes sense. But eliminating the click definitely eliminates space underneath, so they can fit other components underneath. So it kind of makes sense for them to go that route. But there are also rumors of Retina MacBook Airs coming out as well soon. I mean, like, they're saying late Q2, early Q3, which is right around the corner, in June, which is that time frame that, they usually release new MacBook Airs. They did last June. So maybe they're aiming towards that again this year. And I've always said that I don't really see them putting Retinas in MacBook Airs because the MacBook Air is kind of like their cheap laptop and their premium laptop.
Yeah, I think that would boost the price too
The
much.
MacBook Retinas, the Pros, are their premium, really expensive laptops, which would have the Retina. Um, maybe
You
the
know,
Retina screen price has gotten cheap enough where they can start putting it into every single one of their lines. That I mean, it's possible.
mhm,
It's been out a couple of years now, and
with the
yeah,
iPads and all
yeah.
that stuff. But if you think about it, now hear
Hear
me
me out.
out. What if they call it the MacBook? The 12-inch
The
one? Just the
MacBook.
MacBook.
Well, that goes along the lines of the old polycarbonate white MacBooks. That those are just called MacBooks.
Yeah, but they don't have an intermediate line right now,
Hmm.
MacBooks. They have the cheap ones and then they have the expensive ones. They don't have like a brand that's just the MacBook,
Yeah.
you know? Like they have the MacBook Air, so those are the $1,000, maybe $1,300 or less. And then you have a pretty big price gap. Going from like 1,200 all the way to 1999. You have no PC in there. So I think that's might be what they're gonna try to fill. They might do a $1,300 to $1,700 line, um, just to kind of get that broad spectrum. They'll get the extra sales in, because I mean, not everybody has the budget over 2,000, and not everybody wants the performance of something sub $1,000. So I think that that could be something that they could fit in
Well,
there.
this is gonna throw a little monkey wrench into your theory. The apparently this 12-inch MacBook is gonna be cheaper than a MacBook Air. So,
Oh,
um, to me, the MacBook Airs kind of replaced their old MacBook Soul MacBook line. It was a
hmm,
student edition, as I like to call it. All the kids in college, $1,000 for a 13-inch MacBook, something like that, and they can get that as a student in college or high school. And the MacBook Pros are always their Pro line. Obviously for people that need more power. And if you look at the 13-inch MacBook Pros, they're cheap enough now where it kind of bridges the gap from the expensive Airs to the cheaper end MacBook Pros. So there's not too much of a
hmm.
gap as there was early on, with the early MacBook Retinas, which were starting at $2,000 for even a 13-inch. So they've gotten down in price.
Well, if this makes sense, if all these rumors are true, if it's thinner than the MacBook Air, why wouldn't they just completely get rid of MacBook Air?
Well, the other thing to consider is maybe the you know how the
This is the MacBook
right.
Air.
You know how the 15-inch MacBook Retina came out, the MacBook Pro Retina. When it was first released,
Yeah.
it was a different line than the MacBook Pros. They called it a MacBook Pro with Retina. And
Hmm.
now that it's cheap enough, it completely erased the MacBook Pro lineup. It is the MacBook Pro now. There is no MacBook Pro and MacBook Pro with Retina. So sorry for all the double talk,
Yeah.
but maybe this is going to be the MacBook Air with Retina, and then eventually all the MacBook Airs will have Retina. It'll have the same form factor with the thinner design. I don't know.
I don't see it being cheaper than the MacBook Air at all, though. I definitely
It's
can't
hard to see
fathom
with
that.
the Retina and the power apparently that it's going to bring. Um, you know, I don't know. I really am very confused by this. How this is going to be put into their lineup mix. Whether it's
Yeah.
put in a cheaper part of the spectrum in the lineup or right in the middle of the spectrum. Um, I don't know. Maybe parts of the rumors are false where the price is wrong, but the specs are right. So
I mean, it's just rumors.
exactly.
These aren't final facts. If you're watching this, these are not
Pure
final at all.
speculation. It's always fun to
Um,
speculate. It's I love talking about all this tech speculation rumors. So
yeah. But you'll definitely probably see a show from us once it gets announced. With that, as we'll be talking over that again. Probably reference back to this
I'll tell you
episode,
what
I'm
though,
sure.
if this is what they're saying it is, I'm sure my company will buy a ton of these because
Oh yeah, I'm sure I could see it replacing the MacBook Pro in your company because I don't like you and I. We want the MacBook Pros for the
yep.
performance and stuff. and but for business CEOs, I'm sure they don't want to lug around a MacBook Pro. They got those slim briefcases, the little satchels. They just want to tuck it in and go.
Well,
That's what it
as
is.
small as the Retina is, it's still almost 5 pounds. It does have a big, it
Yeah, it's
has a
heavy.
big footprint, so it's not the lightest thing, the smallest thing to carry around. Now, my company's CEO, he doesn't even travel with a laptop. He uses solely an iPad for everything. I mean, even when he's in the office, he uses an iPad for everything. So it's interesting to think maybe this will be like their go-to, they're really portable yet powerful laptop. That's not to say the MacBook Air 13-inch isn't powerful. I mean, it has an i7. You can get it with 8 gigs of RAM. It's decent. It definitely gets the job done. But I wonder if this thing maybe will be able to get 16 gigs of RAM. And maybe even, well, now with maybe an Iris Pro in it rather than just the Iris.
I don't see it dedicated.
Yeah, not in something that thin. I was about to say dedicated, but thinking thin like that, no, it's not possible.
Pretty much impossible right now. I mean, then you'll start getting like dedicated graphics on the iPads and.
But the difference between an Iris and Iris Pro is pretty significant, so that would be a nice upgrade for something like that. Especially sporting a Retina screen, I think it would need it. But again, speculation. So like I said, the new MacBook Airs with Retina are right around the corner. So if you're in the market to get a MacBook Air, I would definitely wait out because the current screens on these Airs, I mean, you don't even have to use a Retina to not even like how these Airs. It's just very, it's
furry.
It's not even the resolution; it's the quality of the screens that are surprising me. It's very whitewashed and I don't know, something
kind of bland looking.
Bland looking. It's just like I said, very whitewashed. It's just.
Well, what I'm coming off of is because a lot of people coming from sending schools to the technical school that I go to, they all come with MacBook Airs, the 13-inch, the latest ones, and the screens are pretty bad. Pretty bad. I mean, maybe you can reference it to lower, about 1280 by 720. That's kind of how it feels like what I'm looking at.
Yeah, it's actually better than that. It's something above 720.
Like 1366 by 768.
Something like that. Or is it 1280 by 800, something like that. But
some weird. It's like just
the Dell laptop
changed.
you have, that actually looks better screen wise than a MacBook Air, which is kind of very strange to say. But they really need to improve it.
That laptop was a bit more expensive originally.
A little bit, but that's also because it has better specs. But other than that, I would definitely advise people not to buy a MacBook Air right now. Wait a couple of months. It would definitely be worth it. Like, when people ask, should I wait for the new MacBook Pros, for the new iMac,
iPhone?
The thing is, if there's not a speculated redesign, I say it's hard to say. Like if you really need the power, wait. If not, buy it.
Pretty much, if you're asking yourself whether you should wait, then wait.
This upgrade would be definitely worth it. A Retina screen, totally worth it. And
they're saying that it's going to be released Q2 or Q3.
June, I would say June definitely, because that's usually when they released.
Yeah, because that's their
release stuff.
That's what they always do for one of their.
So not only would you get a Retina screen, you're definitely going to get speed bumps, obviously, because that's what happens with every refresh. So you're gonna
pretty decent one too. So. Get the new.
Well, it already has Haswell, so it's not going to be a huge. Maybe just like a 0.3 increment, spec wise.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
Then you get a little bit better GPU, or integrated GPU, I should say. But yeah, I think we've covered that extensively. I'm sure, as I said before, you guys will probably see a show once that gets announced. We'll be talking about it again. So definitely look forward to that. But I think to wrap up the show, we're just going to talk about two smaller little topics. So recently, Twitter got an update, or is going to.
It's been rolling out slowly to people.
Yeah. So You might have it now, you might not. I don't think I have it right now. But you can pretty much tag people in pictures now, and you can also post multiple photos instead of just having like one at a time per tweet. Um, so I'm assuming that they're going to be getting rid of because it always posts as a link, your Twitter picture. Um, so maybe they're getting rid of that. I always thought that was kind of an annoyance because it would take up characters out of your typing space. So that's a cool little update. Nothing too exciting, but it is
It's
there.
more turning more into Facebook to me. You know, tagging people and then
Yeah.
multiple pictures.
Yeah.
It's gonna look more like a Facebook feed, which I don't like. You know,
Yeah.
I just hope people don't start taking 4 selfies and posting them on Twitter. You know, as a one
Yeah.
tweet I retweeted, a selfie will now become a self-fory. You know, something like that. A little joke. Da-dum-bum,
Yeah.
bing.
Because it's what, four pictures by side by
Well,
side?
it's like a grid,
Grid.
as you can see in this picture right
Yeah.
here. It'll be a grid, and it looks like the same size as a thumbnail of one picture being used on the timeline right now. So it shouldn't take up too much more space. It,
But maybe they'll integrate some cool little animation where you kind of hover over it, kind of maximizes, minimizes. I'd like that. I mean, just better flow,
yeah,
I guess. And our final topic of the night is that Microsoft is lowering the prices of the Xbox One. Actually, right now you can get it for about $450 off of
yeah,
500.
and these include either
Yeah.
Titanfall or Forza 5.
Titanfall.
So it's really.
It's pretty much the same price as
Yeah,
the PS4.
I mean, and not to mention you are getting the Kinect. You're getting a game. It's
Kinect
and you know it's
headset.
funny in Canada they actually increased the price of the PS4 to $450. That a lot has to
Yeah.
do with the dollar to Canadian dollar power. You know,
Yeah.
about that stuff. But you know that not upset a lot of people. But this is.
It's really quiet right now that this is rolling out, but it is
Yeah.
there.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see a big boost because a lot of people are saying $100 is a big difference between the two. To me, it really didn't because you were getting more hardware for your money and more
Yeah.
functionality for your money. So now that it's kind of on an even playing field, I really think that it's going to skyrocket in the summertime. But a lot of people are pissed
Yeah.
because
And-
early adopters, you know, they only a couple months ago they paid $500 and they didn't get a game out of it.
Like
Yeah,
myself and
but
you.
you know what? To me, it was well worth it. I got $50, $100 worth of enjoyment out of it in those couple months. So I will always be an
Yeah, for
early
sure.
adopter for video games because I enjoy playing games.
And you kind of get that premium experience right away because like you don't get all these kids who get it. I mean, you kind of do, but I mean, for Christmas, if you get it before Christmas, you're not getting a lot of these kids. Like this is one of the consoles that was cheap, that was expensive enough to kind of ward off the little
Yep.
kids, you know, like right away. So we had a bunch of mature players. We still do pretty much. I don't really get any squeakers on there.
Not yet, not yet.
On multiplayer.
Squeakers.
But yeah, so if you are interested, on Amazon, if you enter the code X1 Amazon at the checkout, you'll bring the price down to $449, and you can select the Titanfall bundle and get the free game. So pretty much, you're actually spending about $390 because it's $59, not 49 for a game. So if you think about it, you're only spending about $390 on the console.
Yep, it's just another thing to consider. You know, you can't just say PlayStation 4 because of the money it's cheaper. No, not anymore. So,
Yeah, exactly.
but
No.
yeah, I think that wraps up this week's show. It was a lot of fun, a lot of topics to cover. And like I said, I'm really what I got out of this week is the new look Microsoft, and I'm really looking forward to their future. Which I don't think I've ever said before. It's kind of funny because Microsoft's become the company that people like to make fun of and like to hate. And I think this new direction will change a lot of opinions about them. But yeah, other than that, anything else you want to close off with? Any Minecraft notes or whatnot?
We're running SMP server as always. If you look under my video, I actually have an application if you guys want to join it. If you guys record Minecraft or gameplay on your channel, check out your channel. Check out why you wanna join or whatever. just write it down. I actually made out a full Google document that you can fill out. Just a couple questions, take you maybe 5 minutes. Definitely just go take the time to fill that out if you are interested. And yeah, that's
And it's
pretty
well
much
worth
it.
it because we really made we made server spawn really cool, and we're really sprucing up the whole thing. So it's a fun server to join, honestly. But yeah, other than that, looking forward to next week's tech topics, and until next time, guys, see ya.